So for the 2015 NBA draft, here's what happened. Right now we're about to do the 2016 draft, but in the 2015 draft, so this was a whole year ago, the team rankings, this is for the 14 worst teams. And these are ranked, it says ranking number 1. That's ranking the worst. So we're sort of reverse of a normal ranking here. But number 1 means they were the worst team for the whole league for the whole year. And here was their record, 16 wins out of and 66 losses. If we go to the opposite end, you can see Oklahoma City Thunder had a better record, but still not great. They won a lot fewer than they lost, but they are in the bottom 14. They did not make it to playoffs, but they were the closest to making it to playoffs of anybody. And if you look at the number of combinations, this matches what we have on the page before, where it tells you the number of combinations for the worst team all the way down to the best team, and then converted into probabilities, and that is based on the number of combinations divided by 1,000. So that's how we got those probabilities. You could also multiply by 100 to change it into a percent, but either way, this is the probabilities. A question based on this table is, given that Minnesota and Sacramento were the first two teams chosen for, they got first pick in the draft and second pick in the draft, what's the probability that Detroit will get chosen for the third pick? Well, Detroit is way down here. They're number 8 in the system. And the other thing that we have to think about is Minnesota got dumped out. Minnesota is here. They have 250 combinations. Those got removed because if any of them come up and Minnesota already got first pick, we're not going to give them another pick. They just got first pick. So we're going to ignore the rest of their combinations if they show up. And then Sacramento, which is down here, they're number 6. So their options are taken out too. And we want to know how Detroit is going to do. Detroit has 28. So given that Minnesota and Sacramento were the first 2 teams chosen, so I've crossed off their probabilities, because if their combination comes up in the lottery with the lotto balls, they'll just ignore it and do another set because they already got chosen. Now we want to know what probability Detroit has. Well, Detroit has 28 combinations. So their 28 out of 1,000 originally was their probability before any of the positions were chosen. But now, since we have gotten rid of 2 of the possible positions and we're going to make one more draft, then we want to look at 28 still, because they don't get any extra combinations. But we do 1,000 minus 250 minus 63, because they will no longer use any of the combinations from Minnesota or from Sacramento. So when I do that, I'll have 28. And when I do that subtraction, I'm just doing 1,000 minus 250 minus 63, and I get 687. And then just a simple divide, 28 divided by 687, and I get 0.04075. And I can see all my probabilities above are rounded to 3 decimal places, so I'll just go ahead and round their probability to 3 decimal places, and then I can say Detroit will now have a 0.041 probability of getting the third draft pick. And if we look up here, Detroit originally had a 0.028 probability of getting the first draft pick, and now their probability has increased quite a bit, 0.041. So because the first 2 picks were already done, their probability of getting the third pick is higher.